Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Utah Stories. So today we're doing a big homeless update, and I spent a couple days last week interviewing homeless folks like I was doing a lot in 2022, and I wanted to basically understand what's going on downtown because we've been hearing about homeless deaths, we've been hearing about people dying in the freezing cold, and I wanted to find out, how are these people staying warm? Are the emergency shelters completely full? Is there anything more that can be happening? Because it's very sad what's going on. It's 15 people have died. We know that at least 5 have died by freezing to death. The police have not confirmed the reason for death of the other victims. But Bellamy has been a homeless advocate for many, many years in downtown Salt Lake. She operated a very famous camp known as Camp Last Hope, which was open 2 years ago. And it was a camp operated by the homeless for the homeless. It kept their things secure. They had a warming hut. They had places where they could charge their phones. And nobody died 2 years ago. And then last year, there was another camp called Fort Pioneer, where homeless people, again, had a warming hut. They had their own camp. They had a place they could keep their tents and things would be secure. And I don't think anybody died last year except for one person in October. And now we've had 15 deaths, and now the city is taking emergency measures. So for those of you with us on the live stream on Instagram, thanks for joining me. We're going to be doing this interview with Ty Bellamy over on our YouTube live channel. So I suggest you go check us out over there because I can't show you the interview in both places at the same time. So I'll end the Instagram live feed and check us out over there. And those of you who are with us already on YouTube, we'd like to hear from you on this issue today because I think that there's a lot of voices that need to be heard that are just simply not being heard, and we're going to be releasing my interviews with homeless individuals in the next few days. I talked to one man named Cody, and he told me that it's just absolute bullshit that they're bulldozing tents of homeless people and they are cleaning them out constantly. And that's really their home. That's really the only place they have to call their own. And maybe it's on the backside of the Rio Grande train station, and that's where they can survive. But to be bulldozing people's homes when they literally have no other place to go, I think is indeed absolute bullshit. And the mayor needs to stop this very inhumane policy. I listened to her State of the City address 2 weeks ago, and then we went over that State of the City address and commented on what she had to say. And she says she's very tired of the finger pointing. That this is a regional issue. Everybody should not be pointing their fingers at her. And indeed, it is a regional issue. It is a regional problem. It's a statewide problem. It's a national problem. But we know that she was elected to serve the people who are in downtown Salt Lake City, and continuing the police abatements and using the police to essentially just constantly be telling the homeless they have to move is a terrible use of resources. And so without further ado, I want to play my interview with Ty Bellamy. She was awesome to talk to. She's been a homeless advocate, extremely articulate. That interview, I'm going to play the first 5 minutes of it for you right now. Most people I probably interviewed.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Nobody gives them a voice.
No, it's like they not listen to at all.
They don't care at all. And we just found number 15 this morning.
Number 15?
We lost another one this morning. Yes.
Where?
Over.
Do you mind if I record this?
No, not at all.
Oh, great. Where did you find another?
So there was a female, late 30s, found right off of about 800 West in South Temple. So we lost Candace. And it's heartbreaking and it's frustrating because it didn't have to happen. This will be the 15th person that we've lost since December. We haven't even, it's not even been a full 2 months yet.
Is there official cause of death, or are they doing any kind of
they're going to do an autopsy. The first thing that the police officer said was, and this has nothing to do with the cold weather conditions, and I said, you sound kind of guilty because you're participating in taking away their survival gear. You're taking their homes. They said, well, the tents are not legal homes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. That's their domain. That's where they live. That's where they keep their personal belongings. If you don't want to define that as a legal home so that you feel good crashing them down and taking them away, that's on you, but that's their home. That's their legal home. They're taking their tents, they're taking their blankets, and I said, you don't want to admit that what you're doing is contributing. You're sentencing people to death, and you're contributing to the demise of vulnerable people. And I don't know how you sleep at night. And, he said, well, it's not us that's doing it. We get orders from the mayor's office. And I said, well, when are you going to tell the mayor that you're tired of being her battering ram? If the police department stood together and said, you know what, we're supposed to protect and serve and not sabotage and not take away from people that are already down on their luck. We're not doing this anymore. What are they going to do? They're going to fire the whole Salt Lake Police Department? Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah. And I hear I did a couple interviews yesterday, and I heard that you just need to get a caseworker and you'll get it back into housing. And I looked into that this afternoon, made a bunch of phone calls, 2 to 6 years. And the rent relief program
is gone on the 5th.
Yeah, it's gone on the 5th, and you have to be an existing renter. Like I was going to tell this guy Cody, who I talked to yesterday, the only option I can see is the 30-month Other Side Academy program if you want to get off the streets today.
But the part with that is that some people have mental health issues, and they can't go there if they have to take medication.
Yeah, so there's literally no other place.
There's nowhere for them to go. The overflows have overflown. Erin Mendenhall will not lift her senseless moratorium on temporary shelters. Mayor Wilson stepped up yesterday and opened up, I don't know if it's still called Central City, but it was, the rec center over there. But that's great. Where have you been? But it took 15 people to die to get here, or 14, I'm sorry. 14 people died to get here. And you're the county mayor. You trump the city mayor. And if you don't, who cares? You're still a mayor. You're still leadership. You still have the empowerment to put an end to this. You can wrangle other people into doing the right thing in government. And that's the biggest problem here, is that nobody wants to be first in Utah to do the right thing. They pat themselves on the back and say, "Oh, we used to lead first in dealing with homelessness and things like that." But no, that wasn't the truth either. I thought it was until I looked further into it, and I'm like, they've never done right by unsheltered people, and this is proof of it. Because you remember when we would have just a couple people here and there, maybe under the 4 South Viaduct, you'd have people, and now look, we've got a city's worth of people that are out here, and every single day, there's more faces out here. I used to know everybody by name, and now I'm like, instead of going, "Hi, Han," "Hey, Cheryl," now I'm like, "I'm Ty, nice to meet you."
What about the rumor that a lot of these people are being bussed in here, like given to?
Oh God, I'm so tired of that lie. Look, when it comes down to it, in order for people to tell the truth, it's going to make them look bad. So they're going to make up every lie in the book.
And they say this is like I interviewed Dee Brewer, head of the Downtown Alliance, and he said this is a regional issue, and the regional leaders across the Wasatch Front all need to step up.
Absolutely they do. But here's my thing, and this is my issue with Mendenhall, is that yes, and I totally agree with her that everybody needs to step up. This is a state issue, not just a Salt Lake City issue. My issue with her is that she applied for the position to be the city mayor in the largest area where the most unsheltered people are concentrated.
Yeah, that was before she took office.
Yeah, but you knew going in, this wasn't her first rodeo in government. You knew going in that there was going to be a large population of people here. You came, you promised, we voted you in on your promise to take care of our brothers and sisters on the street. You got in office, you did a couple of little things to pacify people, and then you said, "I'm not doing anything else. I've done my share, and we're not doing anything else. This is a burden on the taxpayers in Salt Lake. They've accepted the brunt of this, and we can't do this anymore. We need other cities, other jurisdictions. We need the state to step up." But did she think about the taxpayers' dollars when she went to Florida to try to figure out how to deal with unsheltered people here? That's a warm weather state. We're not a warm weather state. We have all 4 seasons. It would have made more sense if you're gonna use taxpayers' dollars to go to a similar state so that you can understand how they're doing it. Colorado is where she should have gone. Oh no, not at all. Colorado is where she should have gone. Because see, it makes sense in Colorado.
Yeah, and the thing that
But you know why she didn't go there? In my opinion?
What?
Because their mayor out there is doing the right thing. They're making sanctioned tent cities.
Yeah, that was my next question.
They're trying to do something.
They keep saying they're going to do sanctioned campgrounds.
Sure.
And where, I mean, this is a campground. They're not breaking it up right now. But
That's because they had to do the pit count.
the pit count. What's
Yeah, the point in time count, where they go around and they count people, and they didn't want to really have to search for them, so they left them here so that they could find everybody. But these guys got pushed here 2 weeks ago with that retailer show that came to town, you know, because they didn't want them to be seen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, concentrate them all here, and we were told by the police that they weren't allowed to go from Rio Grande up to 4th South. Nobody can be over there. They got to stay all over here on 5th West. You gonna be over there directing traffic this way so they don't see?
Well, this could work as a sanction.
Okay, I want to pause it right there. So Ty brought up several things. I'm so appreciative to talk to somebody who's got so much candor and honesty when it comes to these issues, because a lot of people, they just feel like they can't tell the truth anymore because it's not politically correct, or that they're afraid to offend the wrong people. That's not what you get here on the Utah Stories Show. This show is all about telling the truth and the unvarnished truth, and being a voice for the voiceless. That's why we're going down there. That's why we're talking to them. Nobody's really talking to the homeless about what's really going on. And so that's a big part of our mission. And I'll just quickly say our brand new February issue just came out. It's hot off the press, our February fun guide. And we've got inside of this worst Utah winter date ideas, why Utahns unfriended Cupid. A lot of Utahns apparently don't like Valentine's Day. We go into that. And short-term rental disasters. They're beginning to outlaw more short-term rentals, VRBO and Airbnb. And we go into that in Utah, or in Ogden Valley. But it's a great issue, and we have a lot of fun in this. There's a lot of winter wellness ideas, how to stay happy and healthy in the middle of winter. And there's a lot of reasons to be very happy this winter. And I think that it's sad, the homeless situation that's going on right now. The state of the city address, as I said, we addressed last week. It's the state of the city in terms of providing shelter for the homeless and affordable housing is really crappy. Let's just be honest here. It's not in a good state. And I don't hear any solutions. I really don't. I don't hear anything from our current mayor, what she's doing to solve the problem. And so to go back now to what Ty Bellamy said, she commented on the mayor's visit to Florida to solve homelessness. She did a visit, and we were trying to look at her Facebook page, because she posts on Facebook about every other day on what's going on and what she's doing. Like, they do an incredibly great job showing what the mayor is doing, but we're looking back to when she was in Florida, and we're not finding any posts. It's like, come on, Mayor. You should have shown yourself in the middle of December on the beach and solving homelessness for all of us Utah taxpayers. It's like, where are those posts, Mayor Mendenhall? I just want to see them. And if you've got them, I mean, show us what you did while you were in Florida solving homelessness. I really want to see them. So if that's a call out to the mayor, we tried to contact your office because, as Ty Bellamy pointed out, and we've pointed out, if you want to solve homelessness in Salt Lake City, why not go to a big western cold city in the winter, such as Denver, Colorado? Because what they've done in Denver, Colorado is they've installed these sanctioned campgrounds, and I think it's a great idea. You don't need a Magnolia Apartments, which costs $16 million, $200 and almost $300,000 per unit, to solve homelessness. You need a sanctioned campground where somebody can put up a tent, have a warm tent at night, and they can put their stuff and get a job, and then slowly but surely get off the streets because they can save money. And this is really weird. Like, this whole situation, I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. As I said, Ty Bellamy, she had this camp Last Hope. And the homeless were running the camp themselves. They were keeping it secure. They were providing and working with nonprofit organizations to have the supplies they needed, the sanitary stuff in place. They were providing protection. There was no murders that happened in that camp. There was no people dying. And then the city goes in and they bust it up. And my question for Mayor Mendenhall's administration is, why are you doing that? Like, if there is really no law enforcement issues and they are working on the sanitation, they're getting enough porta potties in place and dumpsters, and the homeless are doing it, it's not costing the taxpayers money, why would you go in and bust it up? And she doesn't want to answer questions like that, apparently. I've reached out to her administration. I talked to Andrew, her homeless PR person, and he was nice to talk to me. He said maybe he'd come on the show one day. But it's a very simple question. And I've talked to also the Pioneer Park Coalition about the same issue. It's like, there needs to be a sanctioned campground so that these people have a safe, warm place to stay, because they can't fit in the shelters. You're supposed to be part of the solution. Where is that solution coming from? And what I really like James Buchanan, actually, who's the executive director of Pioneer Park Coalition, because he is working on solutions. But he said, we're working with the homeless state resource coordinator, Wayne Niederhauser, on finding a site where we can get it approved. He says, I think we're going to do the Men's Resource Center parking lot and have a sanctioned campground there. But the problem with that location is that you have no access to any other facilities other than the South Salt Lake facility. Downtown Salt Lake City, right where they're at, basically, the west of the Rio Grande train station, they could have a massive, big sanctioned campground. And people like this gentleman I interviewed over the past few days, Cody, it's an interview I'm gonna release online in just the next couple of days. They could have a safe place to live and a safe place to stay until they can get a job. But the problem that Cody brought up to me over and over again was, how in the hell am I supposed to get a job if I cannot leave my stuff in a safe place? And he's like, it's even hard to get a warm meal because he's got all his stuff in a shopping cart. And he says, where am I supposed to put my shopping cart where it can stay safe while I go get a warm meal or go take a shower? And it really is a big problem. If you can't keep your crap safe and you've got a sleeping bag, a tent, and a mattress that you've got to haul around everywhere, if that stuff disappears night after night and you're constantly trying to figure out how you're going to stay warm, of course that's a horrible situation. And so, again, like Ty Bellamy said, it's a regional issue. We're not denying that, and it's great that Mayor Jenny Wilson, Salt Lake County Mayor, stepped up, and that they've opened this. I think they're calling it the Central Hub. They're allowing homeless people to stay overnight there and get warm. So it's basically an emergency overfill shelter, because all the overfill shelters are full, and they're now getting in there so that more people in the immediate future won't die. But I'm serious, if you just had a place people could camp and have some security, that would certainly save lives. And so that's basically all I have to say about that for now. I'll be looking forward to releasing those interviews. And if you stay with me a little bit longer, I'm going to try to play, for those of you who are live with us, my interview with a guy named Crash, who, I'm going to pause while I try to find it. Yeah. Okay. I found this clip of a guy I met who was not on drugs. You can tell. It's very easy to tell if somebody's on drugs. Wants to work. He's fallen on really hard times. He can't. He got kicked out of his place. His family moved away. He doesn't have enough support in his life, and he agreed to an interview. His name's Cody, and I want to show you what he had to say about the situation with the police right now, just west of the Rio Grande train station. I'll play that for you now. What up? How many people was it keeping warm?
Oh, I have no clue, man.
Was there?
I was just here when. Are you talking about like when, like last week or last?
Well, this morning I think last night they had a big tent, and it was a bunch of people underneath it. I think it was just right there, and they made him take it down.
Oh,
Did you know about that or see it?
yeah, it was some group that had like warming tent for people to just come and get warm because it was like 4 degrees last night.
Yeah.
So
You weren't underneath it?
no, I mean I was kind of warm under my own. So
How did you stay warm last night?
I mean just different blankets and hand warmers and sterno cans.
Wow.
That's about it.
Is it a real challenge to stay warm all night? Are you able to sleep at all?
Like the tent that I have is kind of like flimsy, but it's hard because once you trap like all that condensation in, I mean you're pretty much just like making an ice box.
Really?
So,
Yeah. I'm sure all the water starts falling. I've done that before.
It gets frosted.
Yeah. What would you suggest the city does at this point? All the shelters being full, it's 4 degrees outside.
I mean, honestly, I don't know like how much the city can do, but I know that they're not doing enough, and for them to like last week, some of these people like aren't on drugs, like me, just kind of fell on hard times and shit. Don't have anywhere else to go, and these are our homes, and our livelihood. This is all we have, some of us, and for them to just come and take a skid steer and pick it all up without no remorse is frankly bullshit. I mean, it's just like if we took like a bulldozer or something like that and went to any of these other homes. I mean, that's, we'd go to prison, but yet they can come do it to ours. It's not right. Like you're literally taking nothing, like everything away from somebody that already has nothing, so.
How did you find yourself out here?
Just, family stuff. Everybody moved and, I just had nowhere else to go. And then I had everything. Been staying at motels, trying to find jobs. They're few far between. It's not like a daily thing. So, and besides, it's hard to find something consistent when you always have to watch your stuff. Because I mean I've been robbed like 3 or 4 times in the past 2 weeks.
Jeez.
Like
just stuff out of your setup here.
Just like donations and groups that kind of like help people and. Like clothing centers and stuff like that. I mean, I've had to restart my entire life 3 or 4 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And then the last week, like I said, they came out and fucking bulldozed everything. So yeah, some people have to restart their lives from.
So I would assume, like, they're building this $16 million housing project for homeless people. And it's these fancy apartments with quartz countertops and all this.
I heard about this.
And now they're full of homeless people that were homeless, but they're drug addicted and they're sex trafficking in there. I mean, you just need a place to keep your stuff secure, correct?
I mean, honestly, housing would be great, but it's just another government road, and there's really no loopholes. I mean, there's so many that just fall through the cracks, that get overlooked. it's not right, man. Like, there's so many abandoned buildings out here, and I mean, we can't utilize.
Okay. So I found what he said very interesting, because I think that the government wants to assume that they can solve all the problems, not rather than let people solve the problem on their own. I mean, I think that's what Cody was trying to allude at. That's another government road. It's like people don't want to be on the government road. They just want to get off the streets. They don't want to be the recipient of all this largesse. And I mean, I saw all these amazing people yesterday, especially as it was approaching dinner time. This lady showed up with a giant bin full of burritos, hot burritos, and Ty was there with her with rolls and food and blankets. And then another guy came up to her and said, "Hey, I lost my blanket and my bed and my tent were all stolen. Could you hook me up tonight?" And she said, "Oh yeah, absolutely. I just need to know where you're going to be." And but as Cody said, they're constantly being robbed. They're constantly getting their tents stolen from them and their sleeping bags. And this poor guy named Crash, I would like to play his clip for you next. He was robbed over and over again, and the worst was somebody stole his blanket in the middle of the night, and somebody did that while he was sleeping on this new bus that was donated. They parked this bus that was donated to basically just put people up into a place where they had the capability to warm this bus, and I think they fit a lot of people in there. And somebody in the middle of the night just took his blanket and stole all his stuff. So I want to play that clip for you now. This guy's name again is Crash.
And not only that, but I was sleeping covered with my blanket, and I wake up freezing to death because someone stole my damn blanket off of me.
Where were you sleeping?
I was in one of the volunteers from Nomad society or something. She's a volunteer. She just bought a school bus, an old school bus, a couple days ago, and put a stove. It had a stove in it, and so there's people that was staying there. My blanket wasn't even anywhere in the damn bus when I woke up. I woke everybody up. I made sure I flipped everything I could possibly flip and check under and behind and everything. And my blanket was nowhere in sight. Someone literally came up on the school bus, saw me and covered with my blanket, had some screwed up thought come in their mind saying, "Oh, this guy, he's a bum."
Okay, we'll leave it there. Yeah, just unbelievable. I mean, and this situation is created by the current administration's policies. I mean, this could be completely avoided if you gave Crash or Cody any type of security. If you put them up in a sanctioned campground, you could have a night security on duty, and that would be way cheaper than the police abatements they're currently doing. You could have special spots set aside for each person and their things, and they could have a tag, and you could make sure that the person who each item belongs to is with that person. I mean, it's just it could be a whole lot better system. But now we're going to take it to your comments. I appreciate you guys are chiming in. Troy's going to read comments from you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, so I posed a few questions in the chat. One of those was, what actions should the mayor be taking concerning the lack of shelter space. And Harold and Kate had both commented, but I'm going to read you some of Harold's comments because I think they were pretty poignant. He says, she could ask the LDS Church to open up space in ward houses. Good Lord, they have a lot of real estate and money, and no requirement of going to church in return for that shelter. Let them show how Christian they are. At the very least, the mayor could stop abatements, work together with advocacy groups that are already working their butts off. The mayor could make it a requirement for new development downtown to go in 50-50 with government on fund or for shelter.
You know, and related to that, Troy, the First United Methodist Church on 2nd South opened their doors about a month ago, and it's been an incredible thing to see. My friend Robin Pendergrass, he sends out his photos. He's a New York Times photographer, Getty Image photographer. He's focused here on Salt Lake. He's been on the podcast a couple times. The outpouring of support to that church, the one church that has opened their doors to the homeless, has been amazing to see because it's peaceful. People just go in there, they lie on the ground, they sleep. It's warm, it's secure, and they're the only church doing it. And it kind of blows me away because we consider ourselves Christians, and I was raised Mormon, and I believe the Mormon Church does a lot of good. I believe they do a lot of humanitarian aid all over the world, and their temples and their temple building efforts obviously are underway in full force. They're building something like 1,000 new temples in the next 5 or 10 years. It's a crazy number. But to allow people to freeze to death on the streets of downtown Salt Lake City, rock throwing distance from churches that are kept warm at night, I think is a travesty. I mean, come on, people. Open up your doors to the homeless community. There should be nobody sleeping outside when it's 5 degrees at night. And excellent point, Harold. I'm glad you brought it up. I can see this. Kate said there's a lot more in Murray than I've ever seen. And I have seen them, they're spreading way out further south because they're getting harassed constantly by the downtown Salt Lake City police. And if you saw what Ty said, I don't know if we got to that in the clip or not, but she said the police need to have an uprising. They need to say, Mayor, this is inhumane to have us go out in the middle of the cold winter and be demolishing people's homes who are just trying to stay warm. That's inhumane. We're here to protect and serve. That goes against our mission and our duty as police officers. I think that is the fundamental point to what's going on. Kate also said, I spoke to a lady who said the cops threw her stuff in the Jordan River and dumped a poo bucket on her tent. It's disgusting. That's terrible. So anyway, I do remember also when there was very few homeless people at all in Salt Lake City. And I posed that idea to also to Ty, and Ty said that indeed there was the Salt Lake City was like the poster child for how you deal with homelessness. If you remember back in 2015, we were celebrating that we had solved homelessness, that there were no homeless people in Salt Lake City. And now look at what we've got going on, and we're doing a horrible job at protecting these people. And so with that, I think that concludes this segment. I think that people really need to go downtown and walk around. I mean, the people who are down there passing out burritos, blankets, they're doing an awesome job. I think it's amazing how open-hearted people are. But I think it's time the bigger establishments began to recognize I think she said to me, if every single ward house in the LDS along the Wasatch Front sponsored just 10 homeless people, that the problem would be solved overnight, because those 10 homeless people could get bused to an LDS church house, and they could get fed, they could sleep, they could save, go to jobs. There's plenty of jobs available. Advantage Services, we had them on the program. There's tons of jobs. you just need to be able to put people in a place where they can stay safe, get food, get shelter, and get off the streets. And so with that, thank you everyone so much for watching. I appreciate you chiming in. Again, our February issue is hot off the press, and I want to show you how you can subscribe to the magazine. We raised the price to $3 a month. I want to tell you straight from my heart, I really appreciate all the people who have subscribed to the magazine. It's been an awesome help. You just fill out this little form here, pay $36, and we'll send you a copy every single month for the entire year. It's the voice of local Utah, and I really appreciate that people want us to remain in print. I actually was going through a phase during COVID. I was just like, let's just shut the print down. Every single month, our printing bill was going up. It would go up by like $100 or $200 every single month. And this is really our stopgap to be able to pay the bills and pay our writers what they deserve, because we pay our writers way more than any other free publication does. And we don't think that they can work for less than what we're paying them, so we don't want to pay them less, but we still need to keep printing the magazine. And so you who are subscribing to the magazine are making that possible for us to do, and I really appreciate it. My heart goes out to you for doing that, because I know it's a tough time for everybody. Everybody's got to cut corners and budget. So, all right, with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.